All right, we should be live there. Play on that. Audio, checking audio settings here. Look back. Oh. Okay, so here we are. Spring choral concert, the big moment. Many big moments. There were requests over the last couple of days to give previews, and for the most part, I pretty much haven't. At least not to anybody that was in that actual ensemble. So for a lot of us, I think this is kind of a an anticipated event. Just much like last semester, it's a different kind of concert because we're not actually performing anything right now, but the performances have pretty much already been done. But the hope for tonight is that we get to celebrate kind of a lot of work that's been put in this semester throughout the year, and really by folks throughout their time here at UML, because we have plenty of people graduating. So that's the idea tonight: celebrate the ensembles and play some recordings, and hopefully that'll be fun. Yeah, I think we're in for quite a treat, based on where the projects are at. As many of you know, those of you that are in the ensembles, or any ensembles for that matter, it's been a long road this semester, and we've, across the ensembles, there's been just so many different ways of trying to get this done, and I feel really fortunate with the way things turned out for us and the experiences we were able to have. Before we get going, let's take for those of us that are in the ensembles, take a moment to remember what it was like, and to inform those of us that weren't there what this experience has really been like. We started off the semester completely virtual, right? And for the first 7 or 8 weeks of the semester, choral rehearsals were run from my piano at home, me plunking away on my out of tune piano and trying to play parts and sing parts at the same time, and sometimes it worked, but it was not the just like last semester, it was not the collaborative musical experience that we're really in music school to get, right? So we're doing these Zoom rehearsals for a long time, but the hope was always that, well, maybe, as the semester goes on, and, if at that time a surge, was hopefully on the way out, after the holidays and everything, sort of didn't, but we were still able to we were still able to come on campus by, well, a whole lot of fortuitous events, but around mid-March, we were able to open up, it got approved for us to open up and start having in-person rehearsals for up to 10 people at a time. Usually it was much less than that. But that was a huge turning point, I think, at least for my mental well-being. And I think for a lot of us, the ability to just come in and make music with other people was really, really remarkable. So we did that for about, 4 or 5 weeks. And then we got approved to come in and have some outdoor recording sessions with the entire ensemble. Not the entire ensemble ended up coming out to it, but they didn't have to, and for whatever reasons, people have a whole host of reasons why in-person learning wasn't right for them at that time, and that's perfectly great. But it did mean that a larger number of people were able to get together and sing.
Hold on, I gotta go in there.
Which was really great. Uh, and so we we get together, and for a little while it was out in the field, out by Debussy near the music building, and then it was under the piano wing where we had a little bit better acoustics. This whole time, of course, we're masked and distance and all these things, but it was this great opportunity for people to actually get together in the same space, and start to have that musical communication that we've been missing out on for so long. From there, of course, so we had, when we're in these outside outdoor recording sessions, we've got people singing into their phones and recording audio tracks on their phones. We've got video cameras taking video shots from different angles, trying to capture a visual of what was happening in these sessions. And then we do a whole bunch of takes. We do a number of takes of each of these pieces, and then all that audio gets turned around as quickly as possible so that anybody who is virtual can then put in tracks also. Once that's all said and done, through the magic of the internet, we are able to share literally hundreds and hundreds of audio files and video files with each other and smash it all together. And that's how we'll get what you'll see tonight. It's not that easy. There's been a lot of work that's been put in by a lot of people to make this happen and to make it happen well. So, like I say, celebration. If you heard that, get used to that. Because that happened a number of times during the rehearsal, during the recordings, which I guess leads me to some things to remember as you're experiencing, listening to, watching these clips. First of all, the recording sessions that you'll hear clips from, these are the first times, essentially the first times that that singers of any sizable number had gotten together at all, right? Until then, yeah, 6 to 8, 9, 10 people had been in the recital hall a handful of times, and rehearsed a little bit that way. But having 15, 20 people in a space at the same time hadn't really happened. And it was during these recording sessions that you're seeing people communicate for the first time, people interacting. And I have to say, it was just this really remarkable, beautiful, amazing thing to see people show up, having learned the music before. And like from the beginning of the semester, me plunking away on my spinet piano at home, we knew the notes, we knew the rhythms, we knew basically what we were going to do with these things. But then all of a sudden, boom, right in, we have to do it right now. And then it's, and then, by the way, turn on your microphone, we're going to record right now. Right. And so that's what you're hearing, right? There are some instances of some takes that you'll hear tonight that were literally the first time that we had sung anything, basically. The Willen for chamber singers was that's take one that we kept, right? Because we rehearsed it, we maybe sang through it once, and it felt so good that I said, turn on your mics. Let's just do it. Like, let's just ride the adrenaline, enjoy this moment. Like, there's some kind of like really cool magic happening right now. Turn on your mics. Let's go. Let's see what happens. And that ended up being the take that we kept. It was really, really cool. But that said, these recordings are not perfect, right? They are ultimately live performances that that you will hear. There are moments when things are a little maybe out of tune, or things don't line up perfectly, and that's because these are live performances, right? They're not edited really in any substantial way outside of like basic levels and like some EQ, like just very, very basic things. Most of it is just put together, and so, like I say, these are live performances in every way we can right now. Um, Along with that, you know, along with, the occasional, like, oh, this is out of tune, this is, maybe not lining up perfectly, which there's a certain beauty in those things. I think personally, I think that it's really neat to see that, because while, yeah, that might have been true, it was beautiful and amazing to see so many people just lock in, concentrate, and do the absolute best they could at that very moment, right? So again, we're celebrating here. Along with that, you're also going to hear, it's kind of nice when we're recording outside, which, by the way, nobody would ever record outside, in their right mind. It's just, but we're only doing it just because it was the only safe way to do it. It's nice when you hear a bird chirping, right? It's not so nice when you hear a motorcycle go up Pawtucket Street and right by. You'll hear both of those. You'll hear all those. You'll hear a helicopter at one point. All kinds of stuff like that. And it's just part of we'll call it part of the magic of this experience. So that's cool. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything there that I needed to. This is all coming out of basically 3 hours of recording time per ensemble, which basically equated to about 3 takes max of each piece. And what we came out with, and I think there was a real beauty in what did come out. As for repertoire, you could call this program, which, oh, by the way, I should, now that most folks are here, I will share with you a document. Here it comes. And once something is playing, well, I don't know that I'll be able to do that, but let me jump over to, if somebody could toss that into the YouTube chat. There's a chat that's underneath the underneath the YouTube live feed. And if somebody could go in and just, actually, you could share this link right here. If you can either share that file or share that link, that's a Google Drive link to the same document. You could share either one of those over to the YouTube live stream. That would be great. Need access for the link. Oh, really? I thought I did that. Okay. Here's a new one then. I don't know if it's the same link, but that one should work. If it doesn't, let me know. Great, thanks. So that program shows you everything that you'll hear tonight. There's basically 5 pieces that were performed by U Choir, 5 pieces performed by chamber singers, and then one project that everybody has contributed, both ensembles. And that one is more of a virtual experience, and I'll explain that. But if you're to sum up this whole program, I think it could best be summed up by, basically some of my favorite works. As we were going, as I'm repertoire planning for this semester, I really just wanted to work in beautiful pieces this semester. I really just wanted to experience and share and enjoy beautiful works of art, right? Beautiful pieces of music. And really in a lot of different ways, I think we did that this semester. There are some that are, even their texts is talking directly about beauty, or talking about goodness or peace. In some cases, the texts are talking about consolation, right? Which is another thing that I think we could benefit from this semester as we're overcoming everything that we have. And lastly, and perhaps this is perhaps the most prevalent theme in all this repertoire, and it's a theme of rebirth, right? There's a theme of coming out of a in the case of the Willen, rise up, my love, and come away, for lo, the winter is past, and the rain is over and gone, right? This idea of coming out of winter and enjoying the beauty of life. So that was kind of the thinking going into this semester, and a lot of these works are going to be centered around that in some way or another. Along the way, you're going to hear reflections from certain people that were based on some breakout room conversations we had the other day, just about what these pieces meant. They were the programming was meant to, make us feel something, right? Just anything, make us feel something meaningful. And so the question was to each of those breakout rooms, what did this make you feel? Right? What did this piece say to you? How did it say that to you? And what and what did it mean to you? So you'll hear some reflections on that along the way. Just summing up where those conversations went as related to each piece. So that's cool. A couple pieces of business along the way. If the audio or video quality is not very good, please let me know. Like, please feel free to interrupt. I can stop things very easily and restart. I think I've got all the audio things set up and ready to go, but you never know. It's Zoom and it's me. So there you go. You've got the program. We've got the recording going and this live stream going. And last thing is for those music majors amongst us that need this for recital credit, here is an attendance form in the chat for the Zoom people. And away we go. So first off, the Pogorodice Dziewo is the first thing on the program. And I believe Joe was going to say something about that.
Yeah, cool. So thanks everybody for coming, etc., etc. A couple of the things that stuck out to us when we were talking about it in our breakout room. I guess like the most pertinent things, obviously, that it's in Russian, which is cool, because we don't necessarily get as much Russian to sing as we do like English, German, French, other European languages. Another thing that's cool is that the alto part is not like one note for half of the song. That's great. Love that. And then another thing that like really stuck out to me with this one is that like it almost seems like kind of neoclassical on the surface, if you will. But there are some spots where like a little more dissonance pokes out, or the harmony is a little bit less, functional than you would traditionally expect. Like a couple measures in, there's like this nice like walking down motion. There's a 5 chord with an 11 in it, which is the tonic if you don't want to do math right now, which is like super cool. Would not expect that, but I don't know. It kind of leans itself to a more like it's Dr. Crane here. Is he gonna get mad if I say modern? I don't know. I think it's kind of neat. So overall, that's some of the things that kind of stick out to us.
Awesome, love it. Okay, so there should be a screen share happening now. I'm gonna make this so hopefully you can see this well. Can you see the whole screen?
Yep, looks good.
Excellent. Here we go. Pogorodice Dziewo. Right. So as you can see in there, and I'll just, if it's okay, unless this doesn't work for anybody, I'll just keep the stream, the share up. But as you can see in there, we're contending with wind, and we're contending with trying to hear each other from 8 feet away outside, right? It's also really cold some days, and so hence we're all wearing jackets and bundled up and trying to stay warm. So a lot of challenges that go along with it. But that was on the first day. So I think that brings us to Jake, that might say something about My Lord, What a Morning.
Yes. Alrighty. So My Lord, What a Morning is a pretty good spiritual by H.T. Burley. And when we talked about it in our breakout room, the first thing we noticed is the text. So the text is pretty interesting because it's only 4 distinct lines of poetry, and those are repeated throughout the piece. And we kind of talked about what kind of limitations that might provide if there's only those words, what you can and can't convey with such a limited arsenal. But then we kind of talked about how with that limited 4 lines, you can still convey just as much as if you had, tons of different stanzas with tons of different lines. One method that we mentioned, or that JR kind of mentioned when we talked about it, is it's almost kind of meditative, the way that it repeats and kind of brings serenity and peace throughout the piece. But the big thing that we noticed is that through the harmonies in the music is the way that it conveys different emotions and different ideas throughout the piece. Even though the words aren't changing, the music is. And although you might hear the same line at the beginning of the piece, it conveys one emotion, and at the end, it might convey a completely different emotion just based on the music, which is really interesting, kind of this manipulation of the music to change the meaning of the words. So that's pretty much the big thing that we realized in this piece. So I hope you all like it.
Awesome. You all can hear me right now, right? Now the one thing is here is I put on my headphones, and I wanted to remind you all to please, you're going to get a much better listening experience if you do have headphones on. And I forgot to mention that at the beginning. That's at least the way it's intended, and you'll hear it much better. I think I was listening through my laptop speakers. It's not quite as good, but yeah, thank you for that, Jake. And yeah, I took the share off because I realized you probably couldn't see who was talking. So I'll flip it on and flip it off each time. So no big deal. Here goes. That's great. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Next up, Nadia is going to say something about Bluebird.
Yeah, so can everyone hear me all right?
Whoops.
Cool, okay. So
One second. Sorry. Could you hear that? I don't even know if you could.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. The video is still playing. I forgot to stop it.
Oh, okay. Well, so Bluebird, as we discussed in my breakout room, kind of like takes you somewhere away from wherever it is you are, like in the present. It really creates kind of like a soundscape with the like the majority of the choir kind of moves in homophonic movement for most of the piece, and then you have like this beautiful like soprano solo that's like overarching the body of the sound. And basically what it does is it creates like, it uses text painting to create this like image of like this really peaceful, serene like lake, and then there's a bird over the lake, and it's just really peaceful and very tranquil. And so it's just a really nice, calming, comforting piece, and we hope you enjoy.
And that imagery is going to be complemented by some spot on video editing and video recording by Alex Cook, as you'll see. Because we happen to be right next to a body of water. And extra congrats to Jaylene for just doing a marvelous job being the bird. That's great. All right. Next up, we had a student conductor step up to the plate on this next one. But first, Mike is going to tell us something about the Thompson Choose Something Like a Star.
Yeah. So Choose Something Like a Star was written by Randall Thompson, but the lyrics he used are a poem by Robert Frost, also called Choose Something Like a Star. And what we found most powerful about this song was the actual poem itself and the words that we were singing. The poem is all about finding comfort and meaning in something abstract, whether that be religious or non-religious, which we thought to be extra meaningful over this past year since most kind of tangible things in the world have been so inconsistent. And secondly, we also, the actual music of the piece was generally simple to learn, which was helpful in a virtual learning environment, but it was still written beautifully and had so much meaning behind it, and it held up even if it wasn't as extremely complex in a way.
Mm-hmm. Here it comes.
Say, oh,
Yeah. Bravo all around. Jordan stepped up to the plate to conduct that kind of at the last minute and just rocked it. Good job. All right. Last but not least, last U choir, the last of the U choir set is going to be this sea shanty, Swansea Town. So, Dom, would you like to say something about that?
Yes, I do. Yes, indeed. So in our group, when we were talking about this song, we realized that this one stood out a little more because there was no real undertones for deep meanings. It was just more straightforward, and I think that's my favorite part of the song. I mean, it's a she shanty. I mean, we've seen them this year. We've seen Bobby the Bass do some fantastic she shanty work, and I think we all just feel the energy from a song like this. And I think it's a great way to end a set. You know, I think the amount of energy, you're just saying like, oh man, who wouldn't like just to party with their friends on a boat, you know? No scurvy, no nothing, just straight up party, having a nice time. And I feel like Abby said it best in our group. She said, it's gonna happen. It's what's gonna happen after all of us get the vaccine. So I hope y'all enjoy this final tune. I hope you rock the boat, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, I love it. Here goes.
Oh, farewell to you, my Nancy, 10,000 times adieu. I'm bound to cross the ocean, girl, once more to part with you. Once more to part from you, fine girl. You're the girl that I adore, but still I live in hopes to see old Swansea Town once more. Old Swansea Town once more, fine girl. You're the girl that I adore, but still I live in hopes to see old Swansea Town once more. Oh, it's now that I am out at sea, and you are far behind. Kind letters I will write to you of the secrets of my mind. The secrets of my mind, fine girl. You're the girl that I adore, but
Okay, bravo everybody in U choir. No, great. Yeah, that song is a party. That's fun. Cool. So now we're on to the chamber singer set, which of course, U choir rehearsed on, they recorded on that Monday and Wednesday last week, and chamber singers recorded on that Tuesday and Thursday. And we're going to start off with really the first thing we sang all together, which is the Willen, as I mentioned. So take one of many takes, but take one of the Willen. And to talk about that, we're going to get Kat.
Hello, everybody. First of all, wonderful job, U Choir. That was fantastic. I've been like getting the chills every 5 seconds. So this piece, the Willen, it's called Rise Up, My Love, My Fair One. And like JR said, this is the first piece that we sang together on that first day that we came back. So it's a song about love. It's got some beautiful imagery in the text that you'll hear about emerging from the dark of winter into the springtime with flowers blooming. There's a beautiful moment with these soaring lines. You hear the text, the flowers appear. And I know our little group that was talking, we all kind of agreed that we all felt hopeful from this song. It's kind of got this light at the end of the tunnel kind of feel. And one thing that really stood out to us the most is for those of you who, are not familiar with the piece, or if I'm not sure how much if he's told U Choir about this piece at all, but so this piece actually JR has a personal connection to, which he told us about, and it was performed, if you don't mind me telling everybody, it was
by all means.
performed at his wedding, and he told us that, and our group all kind of agreed that after hearing that, singing the piece, it just became so much more meaningful for us, knowing how meaningful it was for him. And we all kind of got really choked up the first time we sang it. Kyle actually put it perfectly. He said, this piece is an expression of love, and when we sing it together, we are able to share in that. And it really was one of those moments where we were all singing together, and we all kind of felt the meaning of this piece and felt the love and the warmth. And it was the first piece we sang together, and so it just was like, it was like a big hug without actually touching each other and hugging each other. So yeah, I hope when you listen to it, you can feel the love and feel the warmth that we all felt when we sang it together.
Yep. You think you were crying. I'm coming up on this May is our 10-year anniversary. So it's 10 years ago next month that this was performed at our wedding. So really cool. Here it goes.
Rise, O my love, my fair one, and call
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, first thing, oh, okay. So, next up, you heard the motorcycle and the birds along the way in that one. Okay. Bird, Storm Anime is next. Olivia is going to talk about this one, I think. Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, I had to make sure that there wasn't any background noise. So when our group met today, we were talking about how this is a sacred piece, but how it can be taken out of that context, and that's kind of what's most important. So this is a Tudor anthem from the Renaissance, and it's reflecting on the verse Psalm 139. But what's more important is what it's sounding like and what we took from that verse and felt, basically. So this work begins with a confident yet gentle sound regarding the piece that is yet to come. So the piece that we're looking forward to. It specifically discusses the piece in accepting loss, but we take it in what way we feel. So these rich harmonies and dissonances and suspensions, they all represent this transition period. In the piece, it's heaven, but taking it out of a sacred context. The reason that this piece the reason that it got us in our feels is because it represents, I think Kat said the same phrase, but this light at the end of the tunnel. We've been living in a year of such chaos and unknown and sometimes fear, that it's nice to know that peace is coming, and that, I'm getting choked up. That peace is coming, and that it will come. That's not unknown. The timing maybe, but that's not the unknown. So hope you enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
Great. I love the way that one came out. And yes, with Devin's hat, yes, we have the sacred and the profane. Thank you, Devin, for blessing us with that right now. Piece of work. Okay. Debussy is up next. And we're going to hear, from Devin himself. Look at that.
To be fair, I did ask you if you wanted me to not wear it, and you said you didn't care. So,
yeah,
just saying. Anyways, good evening, everybody. Our man, the myth, the legend, Claude Debussy, French composer. We have a giant statue of him right in front of Durgan Hall, so we're all very much so aware of him. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to see him lately because of good old COVID. But he was known as an impressionist composer, and he didn't really like that term whatsoever. He just liked experimenting a lot like Eric Satie of the early 20th century there, and late 19th century. But it's from a song cycle called Trois Chansons, which in French means 3 songs. We're doing the first one, which is De qui l'a fait bon regarder. And as we were talking in our little group, it has a lot of very unique harmonies, a lot of mixed modalities, a lot of stuff from a lot of church modes that a lot of the music students can understand, but you can definitely hear it. Flowing like metric textures, utilizes a lot of different like motifs from dances from the Middle Ages. It's very cognizant of like a Renaissance piece, modally, as well as from the types of dances from that same period. Very cool stuff. A lot of text painting too, through use of heavy chromaticism to shift between these modes and tonicizations of different things. So basically what I'm saying right now, that's very musical and like, the not very communicable. De qui l'a fait bon regarder means God, who made her so fair to look at. And that word and that set of text repeats itself in a completely different context musically. So the way I kind of look at it is like, oh, wow, God, she's beautiful. And then you think about it later on when you're really in love with somebody, you're like, wow, she really is beautiful. So it's him going back through the text and like thinking about how beautiful this woman is as you're listening through this song. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's gorgeous, beautiful, very unique. And it's a banger, as I should say.
I couldn't agree more. Here we go. Nice. Hard piece and really well performed. Cool. Okay, next up, I think Jordan's going to say something about the work, This Little Light of Mine.
Yeah, so This Little Light of Mine, it's like a song that's like pretty well known. It's a tune pretty much everyone knows, but our group, and we were talking about it, we were talking about how it has like a special meaning to us, kind of. At the end of February, early March 2020, a bunch of us went to the ACB Regional Conference in Rochester. And while we were there, we went and saw the American Spiritual Ensemble perform. And there was this duet between these two countertenors who sang this song. And it was like one of the most magical things I've ever experienced. I don't think there was a dry eye in that house. There was like instant applause. Everyone like bolted to their feet. It was just like one of the most like magical music making experiences I've ever seen. And just the fact that that happened right before the world kind of shut down. I think that trip has like a kind of special place in a lot of our hearts because of it. So yeah, this has a little special meaning to us. So we hope you enjoy it.
It was even the same arrangement. Yeah, and like you said, it was right before everything shut down. It was like the last thing any of us did. Came home and it was spring break and then never went back. Crazy. Okay, here goes.
Are you watching something? I have a favor to ask.
Hmm. Love it, love it. Okay. Last one of the chamber singer set. Mark is going to say something about the Paulus Road Home.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming tonight and for spending the night with us. The Road Home by Stephen Paulus, as listed on the score, was commissioned as a 20th wedding anniversary. It's a rather simple song. It's pretty much in solfege, except for one chord. There are 3 strophes, and there's a 5 of 6 chords, so that's the only thing outside of the key. Singing this was awesome. After a year of recording into Soundtrap, and if you've used Soundtrap before, you know that it doesn't just trap your sound, if you know what I mean. So it was so awesome to get together and to sing together in a group and actually hear each other's voices, how they really sound. And I think Alex Cook put it the best when he said that singing this was like returning to singing as one voice. And you'll hear in the lyrics, there's an interesting perspective. The road home, it's all about finding your way home. But you'll see in the first 2 strophes, it's like a question. And I want you to listen to these lyrics and decide for yourself what you think the narrative is here, because it begins with a question. Tell me, where is the road I can call my own? And then in the 3rd strophe, the perspective shifts to rise up, follow me. So you decide for yourself what this means to you, following the music.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mark. Here goes. That feels good. That feels really good. Mm, 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 mm. And yes, that was Olivia from the solo there. Fantastic. Okay. So the last thing on the program here is something kind of entirely different. Not a live performance. This is something that's come together over time throughout the semester, actually through kind of the sound trap process and then the virtual choir process, which involves, recording your own video and all that kind of stuff. The video is not out yet because we're still working on it, but the audio is done or close to it, at least presentable. And I wanted us to all have a chance to listen to that, because this is the one that, really all of the singers have contributed, at least in some way too, right? And so if you don't know this piece, the Barber Adagio, the Barber Agnus Dei is a choral arrangement of this better known, perhaps better known, the Barber Adagio for strings, which is for string orchestra, which is actually based on an earlier work before that. But Adagio for strings is really well known, particularly in mournful settings. It was used around 9/11 quite a bit, and other, just hard circumstances. And so then when Barber wrote it, it became very popular. And then later in life, he returns to the piece and writes it and rearranges it for chorus, setting it to the Agnus Dei text from the Catholic Mass. And so that's how we get this piece, and it's really beautiful. And the singers sing it really well. It's a different sound than what you've heard there, because there you're hearing car noises, you're hearing, the sound of the singers bouncing off the building and hearing the birds and all that. This is, maybe a little bit more static sounding, but perhaps more precise and more controlled also, because it was done through a recording interface, or at least in the case for most of the tracks. So anyway, the Barber Agnus Dei, and this is chamber singers and university choir basically all together. It's something like 60 or 70 tracks in this piece right now, and there's probably going to end up being more over time. So pretty neat. I will show you just very briefly the information for it, since we've become accustomed to seeing this. Then I'll actually turn off. So there you'll see, so that's the information for this piece. Samuel Barber, his dates, performers, translation, Lamb of God, who takes away the sins of the world, have mercy upon us. And then in the last stanza, grant us peace, dona nobis pacem, right? What I'd actually like us to do, for those of you that haven't done this already, I'm going to play this from without the screen share on. I just wanted you to see the information here, but I'd like to actually turn off the screen share. And those of you that have contributed tracks to this, I'd love it if you could turn on your video, so that, because this is really a chance, I think, for an audience, and there are, over 100 people here in this Zoom call, and we've got, a number more on the YouTube Live. And so when I'd like this to be an opportunity for you all to be seen, right? And that includes people who have submitted tracks virtually, right? Because those are the people who didn't show up in those videos, but have still put in the work and done good work all semester. So, let's, as much as you're comfortable, turn your video on, and you can sing along if you want, but but more than that, it's about recognition and kind of celebrating you. So here we go. Barber Agnus Dei. If you could, right when it starts, give me a thumbs up so that I know that the sound quality is still good, even if I'm not on share.
It's a no for me, dog.
Okay, I'm glad I asked. I love this. I'm gonna try this one other way. Still gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna share my computer audio directly through sharing. Let's try this. Can you try that again and give me a thumbs up if you hear it? Pretty cool. Yeah. Interesting hearing what the Zoom compression does with some of that. It's like, that's not the way I remember that sounding, but like some moments are like much louder than others, and then the loud moments aren't really all that loud, but it was but it's a great track. And another thing about that, I can hand the I promise you, there is no auto tune in that. Those chords that just sit there and are right dead in tune. That's talent. That's called working with good singers, and that's really cool. So good on you all. Anyway, I know it's getting late, but there are some people that we absolutely have to thank as part of when we're talking about this process. First of all the people that got us approved to do any of these in-person projects, that's a risk. And that is going out on a limb and trusting that we're all going to do the right thing. And that's a hard thing to do, I think, for folks that are in charge. It takes a lot of trust, and you all are, of course, worthy of trust and all that, but it still doesn't make it any easier a decision. So all the way up, you can read through these thanks on the last page of the program, but Chancellor Maloney, Provost Hartman, Dean Falcone, Dr. Greer, the whole logistics committee, they really they made all this possible. So they, of course, deserve our extreme gratitude. Also, I mean, talk about somebody who put in a ton of work for this. Corbin Lewis and the Durgan technical staff. I mean, they were there for every day of those recording sessions, just taking countless all kinds of video footage, and did a really good job with it. And also like setting up a keyboard and speakers and stands, and the whole thing just made the thing possible, like basically all last week. So no small contribution there. And so thank you, Corbin and Pablo and Kevin, and Alex was on that team too. The music department faculty was also really flexible with us, and especially Deb Huber and Dan Lutz, making sure that we had the space available. And there was one day where there was a rehearsal happening on the other side of Durgan, and I didn't even know about it until after. Like, I knew that there was something happening, but I literally did not hear it once the entire time. It showed up on one recording on a take that we didn't use, but other than that, I was amazed that there weren't that there wasn't bleed over from that. But they were super flexible, and I really appreciate that. Alice Cook and Jordan Jones each did a ton of behind the scenes work. Alex, all but one of the videos that you just saw, where it's like panning between different camera shots and all that, Alex did all but one of those, and he did a really good job with it. And he was the one with all the good ideas, like the shot of Debussy and the shot of the water, and and in the road home. This one got me when I saw this the first time. I was like, I can't handle this. He pans out to the campus, on one of those sections in the middle of road home, and just this beautiful shot of campus. I think in some way implying that, this campus is kind of a home for us, right? And it's going to be exciting to get back. So all that, Alex put in a ton of time putting that together, and Jordan helping like measure measure out the distances between stands and like all kinds of little things like that. I'm hugely grateful. The Choral Club purchased and had shipped all of the masks that we used throughout the process, and that took time and effort. So thank you to the Choral Club and Kate in particular for doing that. And Yeah, I always I like putting that on there. The last one. Of course, all of us that contributed, but also the parents and friends and roommates that, we're in the next room over as somebody's singing do in the next room over, singing along with some track that they can't hear. That takes patience on the part of our roommates and friends and family. So thank you to all of them. All right.
Whoa, hey, we can't forget about the most important person to thank. What are you talking about? That's you, big guy! All the tireless nights, like sleeping, like, I'll go to bed in an hour, and it's like 1 a.m., and it's like, come on, take a nap, guy. Take a nap.
Thank you, Brian.
Amen.
Well, thank you.
You deserve a nap.
I do deserve a nap. I do need a nap, but
You can sleep now. Like,
but
actually, like, go to bed.
it might actually happen. Yeah. But no, I do this because I care about you all very much, and the work that you all put in deserves to be kind of put together and celebrated in this way. So right on to everybody, and thank you. Okay. Oh, one thing that I forgot. It came to my attention as this was going along. It's the downside of being the last on the last person in the alphabet in UChoir. One member of UChoir that just got left off at the end of a column, and I'm sorry, Megan Wachowski is a member of UChoir, but we can all look through those rosters and see exactly who has contributed all these tracks to those. And sorry about that, Megan. Okay, and last but not least, this is, consider this like the end of a movie. Michaela, do we have a thing here? There may or may not be some kind of a behind the scenes blooper reel kind of a thing. Not essential. If you want to pack it in for the night, I understand it, but this might be fun and entertaining for some of us to check this out. Michaela, do you want me to share it from here, or how do you want me to do this?
Yeah, sure. The link should be right in your email. I believe
Okay.
I sent it on the same thread.
Alrighty, here it comes. I have not seen this yet either, so here goes nothing. Can you, as you did before? So if you are going to head out of here, thanks for coming, and have a lovely night. And congrats again to all performers. And here comes a blooper reel, if you will, or behind the scenes look. All right, just a split second here. You can all hear this, correct? And see it fairly well? Thank you.
Yes.
See You're actually serious? Oh my god. I thought this was like breakout over here. Yes. Great. That was awesome. That felt really good. Do it. So get ready to record. Does anybody anybody that hasn't been here before, anybody need a windscreen? Anyone?
This is cursed.
That is like the big bass moment where you just like, just like you want to go for it in a big heroic way.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Michaela, good job. That's so awesome. Oh, I needed that. That's great. Okay. Marvelous. Okay, everybody. What fun. We're back on next year. It's go time. It's like that whole thing that we did like all last week. That's it. That's next year. And of course, there are a number of us graduating, and we're gonna miss those people quite a bit. I don't want to think about that, but we'll have our private goodbyes. All right. Hey, already sign off?
Yeah, thanks for making me almost cry, so thank you. Actually, I've already sobbed, so this is my last one. So yeah, I'm sobbing already, so here we go. Woo!
All right, everybody. Let's call it a night. Love you all. Take care of yourselves.
Bye, JR. Thank you.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Wasn't this so much fun? Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
All the feels, if you will.
Yeah.